G'day Doggies fans, it is time for episode 2 of the weekly wrap for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs Elite Pathways. We're going to hear from another guy today, Eddos from the page. He runs the page, has a huge interest in how the future of tomorrow perform and keeps a big eye on all the upcoming stars. So we'll hear from him. He's going to give us a wrap of one of the games between the North Coast Bulldogs and the Macarthur West Tigers, and he'll explain how that all works and tell us how long, as much as info as he can on the game and and a player that come from that area. So we will look forward to hearing about that. Also got to go through the results quickly. So again, another great week for the Bulldogs. We did a clean sweep of South Sydney in the official games. Tarsha Gale, Harvey Norman Women's Premiership, beat South in both of those games. Also defeated South in Harold Matthews and SG Ball, which they were all pretty good games actually, even though we got away with them. In a couple of games we were in some real trouble, and the boys just outlasted and class came to the fore. Some really good kids to watch out for out of those games that go beyond some of the names you've already heard. But Mitchell Woods was again outstanding in Harold Matthews, and we'll speak about both of those games in a little bit. Hopefully you'll see some pics in the background that we'll put together as well. It was great to see the young talent on show in the first trial. So a lot of them played in that second half. So Jacob Preston was a big star. He obviously coming from Flag and New South Wales Cup with the Roosters and the Bears. He really looked the goods, and he's definitely in line for an NRL spot starting the year, and people are already talking him up as Rookie of the Year and stuff like that. I won't go that far yet, but he does look very, very likely and has progressed amazingly well over the off-season and under the coaching of Serrado, Potter and Randall and others who are there as well, Sandercock and the like. But we move on. It was great to see Rajab, Haywood, Skelton, Eli Clark, Brandon Clark. He got a really good try off a blockbusting run from Franklin Pele, which left with one marker, and Clark he ran 10 or 12 metres to score. It was a really good try actually. His speed out of dummy half, he's a real opportunist. This kid's got talent, and that's what you want to see coming through. So hopefully we will see the best of him, Brandon Clark from the Capras. We also saw the likes of local Bulldogs junior Jade Knockenball. He had a really good game actually, and he should be proud of that effort. Paul Alamotti looked much more seasoned after last year, much more fit, and the guys played off the front foot, so there wasn't too many difficulties dealing with the defence. Their tackle efficiency though was really high. And they all had a really good crack. And Blake Wilson on the wing. Now this kid can play fullback as well, but he looked very likely. Scored a good try and a couple of big hits. Same with Eli Clark. Smashed a couple of blokes. And that's what you want to see, these up-and-comers. Eli Clark, as Eddo will talk about, come from the mid-north coast there. So, lots of talent meeting up in the Bulldogs pathway system, and this is how it's all going to be. Still a long way to go. The depth looks really good at the moment. We'll see how good it is when we're halfway through the season. That's where we're going to know. But last year we could have went a lot further in Flag, I believe. SG Ball made the finals and stuff, but when you're using 35 players in first grade, it's going to affect your lower grade. So the fact that we made the grand final in New South Wales Cup with a highly depleted side, and Jersey Flag had a big run at the end when they got some players back. So I'm expecting big things from the Flag side this year, as well as the Harold Matthews and SG Ball. Hopefully they're right in the mix to challenge Penrith, who had a clean sweep last year. All right, so each week when we pass off to Eddo, he's gonna go. He'll focus on one game, whether it's from the pathways in the country areas, or whether it's a local Harold Matthews or SG Ball or the like. And we'll also look at a player to watch as well. So hope you're enjoying the pathways. The pathways wrap. We'll also have the upcoming teams will be shown for you to see on the video, but anything that you want to get out of knowledge as far as it goes for the elite pathways, head to that Facebook page and you're going to see it all there. It's a good one-stop shop to get all that information. And credit goes out to Benny Hassam and also Joey Elturk for continued pictures and artwork that they put forward in their own time to provide fans and provide myself with images I can use in these video edits. So thank you so much, and we'll pass off to Eddo now.
G'day listeners and viewers of All Things Bulldogs. I'd like to thank this opportunity from All Things Bulldogs and Michael Jeffrey to talk about what's happening in the Bulldogs pathways. We're going to try and do this every week. We'll talk about a team and how they performed on the weekend, go through some of the results, and maybe focus on a player here and there. Just to introduce myself, I'm Eddo from Elite Bulldogs Pathways Facebook page, and thanks for listening. And we'll focus on the Lorry Cup this week, which was a game played between the North Coast Bulldogs and the Macarthur West Tigers, a round 2 game. So a little bit about the Lorry Cup. The competition includes clubs from junior rep teams in Regional Rugby League in New South Wales and junior teams of NRL clubs that are made up of players under the age of 18. So this is kind of like the best under 18 kids, particularly in country region areas of New South Wales, and some NRL clubs have extended squads that lead into their Harold Matson SG Ball, which they use these players to play in this competition. So we'll talk a little bit about the teams in this round 2 fixture in the Lorry Cup. The Macarthur West Tigers are derived from the Campbelltown Liverpool District Junior competition. It's really development players that are part of the extended SG Ball squad for the West Tigers. And so predominantly 17, 18-year-olds that'll hopefully be playing for under 19 SG Ball next year, looking to get into that squad if they're not already part of it. And the North Coast Bulldogs are players from groups 2 and 3 in New South Wales North Coast region. They've been in partnership with the Bulldogs Junior Pathways program for the last 5-6 years approximately. So they bring down players and part of the Bulldogs Academy and train with some of the Sydney-based players, and then go back up and finish school, etc. One player that's doing quite well is from that area that's come down is Eli Clark, centre, from Foster area. So he's played a bit of Jersey flag and now is part of the New South Wales Cup team and doing quite well. So just to run through the round 1 team for the North Coast Bulldogs. Fullback is Robert Inglis. The wingers are Bill Butlin and Jack Margetts. The centres are Hamish Wilson and Luke Calthorpe. 5'8" Finian Walsh and halfback Cooper Pedersen. Forwards, 2 props, Tavis Felsh and Jet Gilbert, and Connor Latham is the hooker. Second rowers, Captain Harrison Brennan and Benjamin Geary, and lock is Lachlan Mifsud, the club captain. Interchange bench is Keaton Stutt, Sam Watts, Brody Moore, Patrick Lawler, and extended bench Hudson Harmer. For these 2 teams in round 1 were both first up losses. North Coast went down 30-26 after leading 26-0 to their Bulldogs pathway counterparts, the Northern Tigers. while the Macarthur West Tigers were comprehensively beaten 32-14 by the Western Rams. So this round 2 game was played at Lake Bain Sporting Complex in Wauchope as a North Coast home game, situated west of Port Macquarie. Game was played in very still conditions, flat hard surface and in 30-degree heat. Certainly had an effect on how the game was played. Macarthur Tigers went to the lead early after a couple of minutes with a try to Anae Roberts. Conversion was missed. 5 minutes later, after a good cut-out pass by halfback Cooper Pedersen, North Coast levelled with a try to centre Luke Cowthorpe, and it was 4-4 with the conversion missed. A minute later, with a couple of quick play the balls on the attack, Pedersen was in at dummy half and combined with Cowthorpe again for a second. 5'8" Finian Walsh added with the conversion to lead 10-4. The game continued with some driving defence in numbers by North Coast, with Lachlan Misswood doing some nice work in defence. A couple of forced repeat sets by the halves, Pedersen and Walsh. However, the Tigers scored just before half-time to make the score 10-8 at the break. The second half was a bit of a stop-start affair with plenty of drop ball and penalties, and I think the heat was playing a part in the quality of the game. A third Cowthorpe try came, however, was scored off a Pedersen grubber in goal, unconverted to lead 14-8. But unfortunately, a costly drop ball in the North Coast half with only a couple of minutes left, and the Tigers, after a few plays, put a grubber in, which the Bulldogs failed to clean up, and with only a minute left, the try was converted, and the game ended 14-all. So after 2 rounds, it's a loss and a draw for the North Coast. But this side is capable of much more, and hopefully we'll see that over the next few weeks. With 3 try assists in the game, I'll give my man of the match to halfback Cooper Pedersen, the Smithtown Junior, and under-18 Kempsey Mustang, in which is the same club that Aidan Tolman hails from. Pedersen also had some good kicks and a nice touch finder, which led to some great field position in the first half. However, he did cop a knock from his teammate Cowthorpe, so hopefully he's right to go next week, which is against the Knights. Thanks, listeners. Over to you, Michael. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Eddo. Really comprehensive wrap-up there of Laurie Daly Cup and Andrew Johns Cup. Now you'll see the team lists for Harold Matt's SG Ball and the 2 ladies competitions. Plus we'll have the ladders coming up at the end of the video. So that'll be enough from me, and thank you very much for episode 2. Me and Eddo will get on and do some more interactive stuff and talk a little bit about different players from the different competitions, just to give people a bit of a rundown and understanding if they weren't too sure and they wanted to know more about the pathways and how they lead to the first grade competition. Obviously, there's a lot of talent out there, and only the select best of the best will actually make it through. And the Bulldogs are currently in the process of making that that transition even harder as they attempt to increase the depth. But as you can see from that area, Aidan Tolman come from that Kempsey area. We had the English, and many other players have come from that North Coast. And we'll probably do some coverage of whether it's Jersey Flag later in the year, New South Wales Cup even, SG Ball and the whole like. So there's lots of games out there to discuss, and it's a good way of talking about some of the upcoming talent that you normally wouldn't hear too much about. So that's all from me. It's been really, really good to have a look at how the young fellas are going, and the young girls as well, and how they're progressing towards an NRL career or a women's NRL career in the future. With, as I said last week, the Bulldogs girls team should be in play by 2025. That's where they're aiming, and their sides are both performing really, really well. And we've won pretty much everything for the first 2 rounds. for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs rep sides. All right, guys, thank you so much, and look forward to the wrap-up next week, and including the teams for round 4.